So we are very excited that we managed to partner up, specifically for us being having offices in Amsterdam and in Boston. We are looking globally for partners that have a lot of value add and a lot of knowledge on the specific area where we are in, which is virtual desktop infrastructure mostly. And we've been searching. It's quite interesting for us that we are getting a lot of inbound leads from the APAC area, and mostly from Australia and New Zealand. And as you know, being 12 hours away, time difference, that's an issue. So we need local partners that truly have knowledge, but also have the flexibility to work with us and understand the local market. And we are very happy that we met you guys, and we've been very successful so far as well. So this is fantastic.
Yeah, we have enjoyed success, and it's great to be able to sort of be working even closer together as we move forward as well, which is just superb. Superb. So, there'll be a bunch of people that'll be watching this and going, Login VSI, who's Login VSI? What are they about? So why not hear it straight out of the CEO's mouth? What's Login VSI about?
Yeah, let me give you some background, which makes it more interesting maybe. So I started a consulting firm on Citrix technology in 2002. And build it out to like a 150 consultancy firm in Europe with locations in Germany and Belgium and the Netherlands. And from day one, the consultants started creating software tools. And those tools we just made as freeware available on the internet. So people were able to download it. And we sort of got famous in the technical community. And then at some point, I got an email from the US Army stating, hey, we're using one of your tools, which is Flex Profile, a profile virtualization solution. Can we get some support? So I checked with my CTO and I said, do you know how many times this tool has been downloaded? He said, well, I don't know. I'm just going to check. And he came back storming into my room and he said, it's been over 1 million times. Okay.
Wow.
So he said, that's fantastic, open source, let's give it all away. I said, well, maybe do something else. So what we did is, okay, we need to officially support this. We're going to develop the software and we're starting a separate company, a software company. And that's when we started Immediio as a software company. Long story short, Immediio got acquired by VMware 3 years later. And then we looked at other stuff that we were doing, right? So one of the software tools that has been developed was VSI. At that time, the name was VSI. Then we decided what kind of name would be very appealing to the market. Well, let's do Login VSI. Okay, that's kind of a mistake in hindsight. So with VSI...
Why would you say it's a mistake?
Well, we had Login Consultants as a company. And then we come up with a new sexy name, which was Login VSI. Because for us, hey, it's just going to be a separate company under the same group. But especially in the beginning over here in the regions, there was a lot of confusion between Login Consultants and Login VSI, and right. But VSI had a very strong name, and mostly because when we started creating the software, it was for our own consultancy needs, which was we wanted to find out how scalable a virtual desktop infrastructure was. And it was back in 2010 and 2011 when VDI came to market. Citrix was out there, and we were skeptic that Citrix for us was the best solution, and VMware didn't get there. So what we started doing was at first is run a test. So how many users can you run on Citrix versus VMware, but also versus Microsoft? And then we got some interesting results, and we asked approval of those vendors. I think it's okay that we publish these results? Everybody said that's fine because you're a small company in Amsterdam. Nobody cares, basically, sort of between the lines. And that's what we did. And as soon as we published, the CTO of Citrix was waiting on this. So he knew that the results of his VDI infrastructure were better than the rest. So he started immediately blogging about us. So, hey, it's been proven and tweeting or whatever. So within 5 minutes, the CTO of VMware reacted. And what happened then was, okay, our website just collapsed because everybody wanted to know, okay, what kind of test did you run? How did you do it? And in the first year, we started selling into all vendors. I mean, everybody said there's nothing like that out there. We have tools to test the CPU of servers, of doing all internal stuff, but actually loading users, synthetic users, and then testing the user experience in something new, basically an outside-inside look. So they adopted our software, and still to this day, all those vendors are still customer of ours. So we work with Microsoft now very intensively on Microsoft Windows Virtual Desktop. Citrix has been the long life customers of ours. We are completely embedded in their R&D practice. Same goes for VMware, who took the longest because they had their own tooling, View Planner, and they were reluctant to use us. But then the market said, hey, if you want to compare, you need to use Login VSI in order to compare, right? So that's how we came to market in 2010-11. Then in 2013, we were doubling business year over year. So we decided, okay, we have consulting and Login VSI. Let's sell the consulting business. So that happened in 2015. And in the meantime, I moved to the US to open a US office for 2 years with the family, and then moved back. And now I'm back in Amsterdam. So that's where we are right now.
That's fantastic. What a story. What a great success story. And along the way, it's like companies being sold, others being spun up, people knocking down your door. It's kind of like the perfect organization. It's what any entrepreneur wants to hear. You know, 1 million downloads, wants to hear. We've had people, so many people hitting our website that our website, crashed. Like they're just outstanding tidbits of information. And I guess it speaks to, and also the longevity of the tool set. So I think what's great is it comes from people who were doing the things that actually they felt, and that's often where great software starts, is where someone's created something to say, hey, this could be easier, this could be better. And all of a sudden, here we are now, 2020, and you've got this fantastic growing organization that's delivering value. So a lot of it is the testing, as you say, and the synthetic users. I think that for me, the synthetic user idea of, I kind of call it the canary in the coal mine. Yeah. That little user that's just constantly running over there in the platform, doing the things that users would do, and saying, oh, hang on a second, this is taking longer than it used to take. Maybe there's a problem somewhere, and sort of being able to address that. That's huge. It's not just the load test. Yeah. I mean, we use your tools, as you know, right? We use your tools in our managed services. So we load test customers' environments before they come in the day, just to make sure everything's going to spin up and be okay as the demand grows. It's just superb technology.
Yeah, and it's where we started off by providing sort of the benchmark into the market. So how many users can you run on your system? There were a couple of very large financial institutes worldwide who said, okay, but basically any new application update or any new OS or any new infrastructure, we need to test and know what the change impact is going to be. And we want to do it with synthetic users, not basically ask our own users, because basically then we're too late. And what we also see, and there's kind of an interesting a book written by Jeffrey Moore. I'm not sure if you know the guy. He's a marketing sort of professor from the US, where he's describing the technology adoption lifecycle, which is basically, if you look at where we started in 2010, we were dealing with all innovators, right? So mostly vendors who thought it's going to be the big thing, VDI, we want to test, we want to be ready. And then some companies were testing out VDI as a technology before deploying it to the next level. And what we see now, especially in these times, that working from home is mandated. The technology to do it in a safe way and secure way is through VDI. And especially with the entrance of Microsoft Windows Virtual Desktop last year, there's a huge boom into the market. I mean, we've never seen it before, and very interesting. Even Microsoft came to us and said, hey, we want to internally roll out WVD to all our contractors, which is 10,000 people. We have no solution to test the changes before we roll out the solution. And basically, you guys are our solution for this. So we did a deal with Microsoft themselves in order to use our software to deploy WVD in a safe and sound way, which is change management is becoming more and more very important. And even so, if you see the people we're talking to, it's the CIOs, because they realize it's all about business continuity. Any change could have a major impact of basically taking a company offline if you don't test. And you don't test with 10 users. You want to test with a larger sample And we have companies testing every day. Even if it's Patch Tuesday, or they have synthetic users running in production. It provides them with the sort of, like you said, the canary in the coal mine. We know what's happening before actual users starting to realize that something's wrong, and that's a very powerful, powerful proposition. We know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we started the call talking about the interesting times that we find ourselves in. Yeah. And there are always going to be businesses that hurt and unfortunately don't survive through the current crisis, and there are others who just happen to have what's needed at the right time, which is where Login VSI is. And to your point, Windows Virtual Desktop now is also changing, I think, the mindset. So whereas previously people thought of virtual desktops as application delivery mechanisms and a way to get an application easily provisioned and given to people who are remote users, now it's like the virtual desktop is effectively what the future is going to look like. And that's, I think if I'm not mistaken, Satya Nadella may even have said Windows is no longer for the desktop, it's for the data center. Yeah. Which is a perfect segue into WVD. Yeah. And Login VSI has now pulled together the WVD starter kit. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about what that innovation too? Yeah.
So when we started working with Microsoft on, they basically came to us and said, hey, can you help us do some scalability testing for our Windows Virtual Desktop? And it's a new technology in that sense that you need to connect into Azure. It all makes sense from a strategy perspective. Microsoft wants you to work in Azure, and they're using Windows Virtual Desktop as a means to an end, right? So, but then you see, for Microsoft, it's a new play. Citrix and VMware have been in this business for 10 years. So from a technology perspective, Microsoft, they entered late, so they need to catch up with the rest of the technology. So we started helping them running the test. And then we had a conversation with Microsoft where they basically said, okay, we want you guys to be a launching partner for us because it makes sense that customers start testing. Because realize with Windows Virtual Desktop, organizations are getting a platform as a service, right? You still need to onboard your own applications. There's a lot of stuff you need to do by yourself. And there's a lot of uncertainty. How will it work for me? Will it work? What's the performance? And then Microsoft has an ecosystem with a whole lot of partners that are not very much seasoned in the VDI technology as well. So we came up with, let's make sure we help them. We help our partners worldwide to provide a starter kit. Basically, you run our software, which will spin up 15 synthetic users. It will tell you if it works, how it works, if your own application will work. Just very quickly an insight on, okay, this is how it works, and it's value for me. So that gives me a lot of insight in order to move ahead and start using Windows Virtual Desktop. And this starter kit is a freeware for like a month just to try out, because there's still a lot of unknown on the technology. We want to help our partners with this. And it's we're getting a lot of requests for downloads of the starter kit. So it seems to be the right fit.
Let me know when you hit 1 million.
Yeah, I will.
And with your broad client base, well, we've got a lot of good local success stories here in Australia and New Zealand, healthcare, government, large banks. In terms of where the market sits for Login VSI, what are you seeing? You've done a survey recently.
Yeah.
What are some of the things you're seeing?
So every year we do a survey. And we've done it for the last 8 years, and it's kind of interesting, and it's sort of consistent with my story earlier of Mr. Jeffrey Moore from where the technology adoption lifecycle. We see it's got some interest like 10 years ago, and it's slowly moving. So what we have seen in the last 2 years is a huge focus from the verticals, finance, healthcare, and government in using VDI as a technology. So just to give you an idea, we did a survey. Typically, we have between 700 and 1,000 respondents worldwide, which is quite good. And we see that the top initiative for this year for all those companies by like 30% is looking at desktop as a service. Windows Virtual Desktop is the number one if people want to investigate and want to do a POC on. And then we would be looking, because that's also changed over the last years. where a couple of years ago the expectation was we just go to the public cloud and we're all fine. People now realize, okay, no, it's going to be a hybrid solution. I will have my own data center or my own cloud solution, and there's stuff I will get from the public cloud, like Office 365 and those kind of SaaS solution. The strongest verticals continue to be the number one is finance, number two is healthcare, and that's very consistent with our market in Australia and New Zealand. They continue, and instead of typically like 5 years ago, we would get in the survey the results of 20% of my workforce is serviced with VDI. Now it would move up to 40 to 50%. Or even more, and that's also what we see happening worldwide. The number of VDIs deployed, based upon another survey or a result from a report, that it's moving up like for 30 to 40% of all corporate desktops worldwide is going to be VDI in the future, and also accelerated by the COVID-19 situation, because you need to work from home, and yeah.
That's big. And that's also where Login VSI has had a big impact as well, is oh no, I need to get X thousands of people working remotely from home. How do I know if my environment can scale to that? Yeah. And if I put in and extend my environment, how big do I need to extend it? Is that still? I mean, so we've seen a lot more demand here in Australia. I'm sure globally you've seen that there's an enormous demand as a result of that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, if it's from a very large police organization from Italy, or a very large government body in the US with 550,000 people, they all realize, okay, we need to make sure people are able to work from home right now, but then going forward, we need to be ready in order to have a lot more people working from home as a standard new situation, because
absolutely
that's going to be our new life from now on. And I hear it from my colleagues as well. They would say, I actually like working from home. I only want to be 1 or 2 days in the office and not 5 days. And that makes perfect sense. So we all need to be ready to help people and get people working from home in a safe and secure way. And more importantly, if you do a change, that it doesn't break. So
it needs to be reliable.
Yeah, it needs to be reliable. You need to have a very quick go-to-market. And that's all what our customers are doing with our software all around the change management. Yeah.
It's a great news story. I mean, what a fantastic success story from where you were to where you are today, and what the future holds as well. You know, you're perfectly positioned, and we're super excited to have this partnership with you and to represent you over in this part of the world, and be able to be your eyes and ears and hands and feet on the street here.
Yeah.
It's hard as an ISV when you're not local.
Yeah, it's impossible. And so we are very happy that we were able to work with you guys, because you provide us with the proper knowledge, the right focus, and you're able to extend what the presence of us in the area there. That's
which is great, and it fits fairly and squarely into what we have such a big focus on the modern workplace and on the desktop. As you know, right, we've been doing Citrix for many, many years with 2 of the global 60 CTPs in the organization, and enormous amount of experience. And then WVD for us has also been great, because we used to be the guys that represented FS Logics, which is the engine room that sits behind WVD.
Yeah, that and Lakeside as well, right? So you have Lakeside, which is a perfect combination with us as well. I mean, we collaborate together, so that's perfect.
Yeah, so we've got the scale, we've got the monitoring, the measuring, the reporting. It just all comes together. That's all part of, you can see exactly where you fit into our strategy.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Eric, thanks very much for your time today. It's awesome to be able to have a chat with you. It's nice to hear that everything's going well for your organization. In fact, it's wonderful to hear that everything's going well, and critically that family and everybody is healthy and well.
Thank you very much, and I was honored by this interview, Ronnie. Thank you very much.